If you want to know how to bring out the best in your young baseball player, we're going to switch it up a little bit. Now this stuff, the mental stuff, by the way, this is Brandon Geyer, former MLB player turned mental strength coach. Got a lot of great tips on how to improve your mental game. And this works at the MLB level, college, high school. But in this video, we want to switch it up and talk about the youngsters. And I want to know, selfishly, pick his brain, how can the dads, moms, coaches of young players help them dominate the game of the mind?
Yeah, so I always, when thinking about this and I'm asked this, I think of a great quote from the coach John Wooden, maybe the GOAT of coaches, right? John Wooden says, your own example counts most. So when I think of this, I like to think of coaches and parents learning the mental side of the game, because at the end of the day, we're with our kids the most. I have 3 young kids. We're the mental coaches, right, for our kids. So us learning this stuff that we're talking about today and about to talk about, and then being that exemplar, like being that person who, like, yeah, I'm telling the players and everything to control the controllables, to be great at handling their emotions, to be great at failing. Well, I have to be good at that too, so that I'm believable and so that they trust me, right? And I like to think of Joe Madden and Terry Francona, some managers I had at the big league level. They were believable. Why? Because what they said, they did. And they were so good with the mental game, so like players trusted them and they were believable. And so I think that's first. Like John Wooden says, your own example counts most. So it starts with that. And then I think it really, I coach my son's 8U team. The only thing, well, I talk a lot about mindset, but the thing I talk about every single practice, and we actually have, like I said, a bling chain that says control the controllables, player of the game. You don't get a bling chain for hitting a home run. You get it for if you control the controllables. So what is that? So I call it the #1 skill for all athletes, and that's what I'm trying to coach these young kids, and what I offer to parents and coaches to really help their kids train their mindset, get them to be great and relentless with the controllables. So this is something that, you're a ball player. It's easy to say, yeah, I'm going to control what I can control. But then something happens that's out of our control, such as an umpire. KJ, I'm sure you've maybe been there before. An umpire makes a bad call. Your defense makes an error when you're pitching. Coach doesn't hit you or play you. There's so many things out of our control. So it's simple to say it, but it's a skill. Just like any other skill, you have to put the work in to develop it. And then it becomes the most important thing we can do, right? So I came up with an acronym to help young ball players really understand what's 100% in their control. Because that's the key. We want to learn what's 100% in our control and then let go of everything else as quickly as possible. We're not going to be perfect with this, so don't expect to be perfect. But even if you can get 20, 30, 40, 50% better, you're going to notice a huge difference. So the acronym is R.E.A.P, R-E-A-P. So this acronym helps them remember what's in their control. So when I travel around and speak and whatnot, when I'm working with my son's team, when I first introduce this, I say, okay, what words start with R? That's 100% in your control. And so the one word I'm really looking for is their responses. Their responses to adversity. Their response when an umpire makes a bad call, or, you're not hitting or pitching good. How's your response? How's your body language? E, your effort, your energy, your emotions, all 100% in our control. A, your attitude, your actions, and I say your appearance. Your appearance is your body language, okay? And then P, present moment focus, positive self-talk. We talked a lot about self-talk in these videos. Perspective, how you practice. That's R-E.A.P, all 100% in your control. So we got to get clarity on those and then let go of everything else as quickly as possible. There's so much out of our control. Whenever I ask players, hey, what's out of your control? The first thing they say, umpires. Weather, field conditions, schedule, traffic. But I think the #1 thing that players focus on that's out of their control is the thoughts, opinions, and decisions of other people. This is humans and ball players of all ages. What holds us back more than anything is we're thinking about what other people are thinking of us, right? And so I like to think, instead of thinking about what they're thinking of you, think of what you think of you, and live in integrity with that best version of you, and then that kind of melts away. And it's actually interesting. There's a study that found, they came up with the term, the spotlight effect. And the spotlight effect is basically saying we think about other people thinking about us way more than they actually are. Like, they're not thinking about you. Like, other people are so worried about their own selves, they're not really thinking about you. So we overestimate how much people are thinking about us. And when we think about what other people are thinking about us or other people's decisions, it makes us very tight and tense. It adds pressure, it adds stress and anxiety. So for young ball players, for players of all ages, remember that spotlight effect. And when we tend to think about what's out of our control, well, that thing controls us. If we're thinking about the umpires and what they're doing, well, that starts to control us and our mind and our focus. So imagine if one player, and actually a whole team, is so focused on what's in their control, and the other team, their energy's on what's out of their control. Which team do you think has a better chance to succeed? The one who's just focused on what they need to do to succeed. So that's where the controllables is everything. So R.E.A.P, R-E-A-P, I think as coaches and as parents, that right there, that skill, helping the players develop that, is night and day what's going to lead to them feeling more confident. It's going to lead to them feeling less stress, less pressure. It's going to lead to them enjoying the process. It's going to lead to them having more fun. Do you play better when you're having more fun? Yes. So what if we can create an environment and give them this mindset where we're encouraging them and they're having fun. Then there's no stress and pressure. They're playing, they're hitting, pitching, or on defense. They're free and loose. Do you play better when you're free and loose and having fun? So that whether it's young players or older players, every player, when they're more confident and they're playing free and loose, you know this as a player, you're getting better results, right? So it really, for parents and coaches, I think it all comes, I don't think I know, it all comes back to the controllables. If we can just get that in their mind and really keep it simple and help them remember R-E-A-P, what's in their control and what's not, and let go of everything else. It's a skill, it takes time, just like the physical side. A lot changes. And then what happens? They become great at failing. They learn how to fail forward. They learn, and this is a saying I heard a while back and it's always stuck with me. It's not supposed to be easy. Getting across to our young kids and our players, baseball and life's not supposed to be easy. And I remember a mentor of mine told me this story of lizards and dragons. So on this journey to be the best version of you, okay, KJ, and everyone watching this, on that journey to become the best version of you, you're not sidestepping lizards. It's not supposed to be easy. On that journey to becoming the greatest version of you as a person and player, you're battling dragons. So expect scars and wear those scars as medals, okay? So once players can realize and accept that it's not supposed to be easy, see a lot of players out there, they don't realize that baseball's a game of failure. Life's a game of failure. So let's become great at failing. Let's learn how to fail forward. And a mindset to help players with that is win or learn. When you go into competition, you prepare, you work hard, you go in with this trusting mindset. I'm either gonna win, and if I do, celebrate, be proud of yourself, right? Like I would always like to beat my chest and say, that's like me. So those 3 words, that's like me. You're building up your self-image when you have success. Now, you go into competition, you're not always gonna succeed. So it's instead of losing, we're learning. And then if we truly learn, say after an 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, we learn what we could do better for the next time, well then maybe what we learned helps us win in the future, so it becomes win or win. It's not win or learn. And when we fall short, when we inevitably fall short, everyone watching this, you're gonna fall short. And we can talk about perfectionists and optimalists. I'd like to hit on that too. Because the perfectionist, I like to say in high school when I stunk, I was a perfectionist with a fixed mindset and no identity. The identity part is huge too, we can definitely hit on. To preserve that self-image and get rid of being a perfectionist, we want to say the other 3 words. That's not me. When we don't have success, remember win or learn. Win, that's like me. We lose or we learn, we fall short, that's not me. And then you just learn from it. So control the controllables, win or learn. It'll help you become great at failing. And then players just play free and loose. And most importantly, they have more fun. They enjoy the process, and as a byproduct of all of that, they get better results. And once again, we've said this a lot, they find out how good they can be. But yeah, so could go on and on, but yeah.
I love that. I love that. I heard that winner learned from Coach Kavanaugh. We were talking about McGregor.
Yeah,
before.
his book, right? Yeah.
I love that, and I love that ever since. And one thing I'm stealing from you is Battling Dragons. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to you guys about Battling Dragons. We actually, what we do with his team before every practice is we do a little story time, like 2-3 minutes, real quick, about a player or about a inspirational story or some type of mindset story.
That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
What's one of them that we talked about before? Last one was
that had no hand in his
Jim Abbott.
righty.
Jim
Oh
Abbott,
yeah, great career.
And he went, he overcame all that adversity, only having one arm, and becoming a great pitcher in the major leagues. Talked about Tom Brady and how he was like one of the slowest. Babe Ruth, and I didn't know this until I researched his story, but the inning before he called the home run.
He put his bat up.
What happened the inning before though? You remember?
I think
Someone threw lemons at him, but also
didn't know
he was
that.
me neither. But the inning before he was in the outfield, and he made an error and let 2 runs score, and this was in the World Series, I believe. So the inning before he let 2 runs in, but with an error. And the story said, he tipped his cap and he went back out, got through the inning. Next inning, did the famous call a shot and hit their home run. And so I thought that was a great story about, coming back from an error, how to handle that error. So.
Maybe he that's not me.
Yeah.
That's not like me to make an error.
Yeah.
And then a routine we talk about a lot is called flush it. And the flush it routine where you picture, you fall short, you picture a toilet, and you learn from it first, then you flush it, it's gone forever. So you're not carrying those mental bricks around. That's another routine that's good for young players and players of all ages. Oh, you fall short? Learn from it, flush it away, it's gone forever. Time to compete with all you have this next pitch.
I actually used to visualize, and this was in pro ball, but once you shower, because you shower after the game, but you can think about it and analyze it all after the game, get into the locker room, whatever. Once you hit that shower, I used to visualize it coming off of me and watch it go down the drain, and then that was it.
I love that. Shower well.
Yeah.
Shower
and that
well.
was, to me, that was having a short memory. You hear that a lot, having a short memory. Just don't let your highs get too high, your lows get too low. Not only forget about the bad stuff, but you got to forget about that good stuff sometimes. So not forget about it, but you can't live on, letting your highs be too high. So.
Yeah. That makes me think of one thing. We have time for this
Yeah,
video?
yeah.
So you talked about after the game, good or bad, kind of showering it away. That makes me think of a saying I learned a while back. It's called change clothes, change mindset. So this gets us into identity and the power of having a very strong identity, not just on the field, but off the field as well. So to start with that, I like to think of one word that really summarizes the entire Major League Mindset program. Everything I do, learned this a while ago, and it's my philosophy of life and of what I'm helping athletes with as well. It's a Greek word, R.E.A.P. We mentioned it in another video, but it means excellence if you Google it, but it means to express the best version of you moment to moment to moment. To do that, you have to know who you are at your best. What if you don't know who the best version of you is? Then you can't live with R.E.A.P. You can't play with R.E.A.P., right? So it starts with self-awareness and getting to know yourself very, very well. Like Greg Hardy, he was Tom Brady. We mentioned Tom Brady. He was Tom Brady's sports psychologist at the University of Michigan. Has a great book out right now. He talks about the controllables and all that stuff. But he talks about become the world's greatest expert on what subject? Yourself. So this exercise we do, it's called Major League Identities. And it's helping them get great clarity on who they are at their best and what it is that best version of them does on the field and off the field. Separate the two. Okay, so identity, as you can see, I like to find meanings of words. Identity equals, if you look it up, repeated beingness. And this is a good and bad thing. So our identity becomes who we're repeatedly being. If we're repeatedly being a mediocre or pretty good version of us, that's what we become on and off the field. If we're repeatedly being and striving to, knowing we're not going to be perfect, that best version of us, we show up at our best more and more consistently because we have the behaviors that lead to that. Because I think the spectrum is like this for our identity and for the results we want in life. Strong identity leads to very strong behaviors, which leads to the feelings of confidence and discipline and motivation that we're after. Then that leads to success. Too many players, and I used to be this, we rely on success to feel a certain way, to feel motivated, to feel confident, and then we have better behaviors, and then we have this identity. But that's going to be a very weak and powerless identity because we're relying on results for it. But what if we can create this identity where it's very strong and set? We know who we are at our best. That identity drives the show, leads us to the powerful behaviors, then those feelings, and then success. That's why this exercise, Major League Identities, is absolutely huge. We separate who we are on the field and off the field. We don't have our identity tied to our results on the field. Then every time we fall short, which we're going to a lot in athletics and life, it's not a threat to our identity. So our well-being goes up. We know our sense of self, our self-image goes up. And when that happens, we enjoy the game more. We're happier. And positive psychologists say happiness, they say this is unequivocal. Happiness is the ultimate currency in life. I used to, when I was younger, chase the other currency, money, fame, results. That's what I was after. And no wonder that I wasn't super happy, right? And science has proven happiness comes before success, not the other way around. So it's a losing proposition. If we are chasing success and the extrinsic stuff, right? Fame, money, cars, all that. If we're chasing that and we get it, they actually say you're less psychologically stable than if you were chasing internal happiness, becoming the best version of you, accumulating that currency. Then, as it's quite a paradox, you get more of the extrinsic when you're doing that. I bring this up because having that strong identity helps do just that. Okay, so that Major League Identity, it's literally 3 tiers. We name it. I'm going to give an example of a player on the Angels. On the field, named it world-class athlete. Off the field, world-class person. And then, okay, what are the qualities you embody as a world-class athlete and a world-class person? But most importantly, what are the behaviors you engage in that lead to that best version of you showing up? When they have that, then it's leading them to everything they're after because that identity is driving the show, not their feelings. So something I say a lot is actions over feelings. Put your actions before your feelings. Act a certain way and you become it. So it's called the act as if principle. I think William James back in 1890 came up with it, and it's game changing. When you know who you are at your best, act it and you will become it. If you want a quality, act as if you already have that quality. So getting that across to young players is act a certain way. And some players, when I say that, John, they're like, is that kind of like fake it till you make it? No. Fake it till you make it is when you don't know who you are. You don't have this sense of self and identity, especially of who you are at your best. So if you're acting like that, you're faking it because you haven't put the work in to get self-awareness. But when you know it's so dialed in what your identity is at your best, and then you act that way and carry yourself that way, you become it. And then when you become that best version of you and carry yourself, you're showing up at your best. You're giving yourself the best chance to succeed. And this isn't just on the field. This is in school. This is in relationships. This is everything we do. And then we are more and more consistently living and playing with R.E.A.P. And then we're showing up at our best. We're striving to be our best and live our best life and help others do the same. But like I talked about earlier, we will never, I won't be, y'all won't be, no one here will be the first perfect person. But so if you can strive to be, Tal Ben-Shahar, a psychologist, says, instead of being a perfectionist, someone who has very high standards and doesn't think they should ever fall short, he said, let's be the opposite. Let's be an optimalist. You have the same very high standards as a perfectionist, but you know you're going to fall short. So when you do, let's have a win or learn mindset. When you do, then learn from it and come back stronger and better because of it. So be a perfectionist. I don't recommend it. There's no way you're going to be playing free and loose consistently. So let's go from perfectionist to that optimalist with a win or learn mindset. Most importantly, let's control the controllables with a very strong identity and sense of self. Live and play with R.E.A.P. Your life and game changes. I promise you.
I like that a lot. And don't forget to slay some dragons too.
Yeah,
Right?
slay those. Because,
What do you-
hey, the dragons are coming, I promise.
What do we got here?
Yeah, so this focal point sticker right here, we have it on the bat. We did it in another video. This one says breathe, and on the top and bottom it says control the controllables. So once again, it's another tool and really just reminder for players during competition. When I first started training the mindset, I would do all this stuff pregame. Then during competition, like the heat of the moment, I would just forget to use my breath, or I'd forget to control the controllables because it's not just like on autopilot yet. You know, you have to train it so it's who you become. It's just who you are. And so until you get to that point, having these reminders or like triggers, right? So players have it on their bat or their glove or under their hat. They look at it, oh, reminder to breathe. Oh, I'm focused on what's out of my control. Control the controllables right here in this moment. So having stickers, I have this, you know, bring it on wristband. When I actually played though, I had some of you out there, and you may have seen like Dusty Baker. He wears a wristband when he coaches. So a guy named James Mims makes those wristbands. So I got introduced to him by Rajay Davis when I was with the Indians. And he created some wristbands for me. And he said, Brandon, what do you want written on your wristband? And before he finished it, I said, breathe. Because the breath was the MVP of everything for me. It was the #1 tool. So I had him, like for the World Series and everything, stitch breathe in the wristband. So every time I would touch it and look at it as that reminder to take that deep, meaningful big league breath. So having those tools, like something like on KJ's glove right here, it's that reminder so that, remember, simplify everything, Major League Mindset, develop mental tools to change your mental state in the moment. You do that, everything changes. Everything changes. Your confidence goes through the roof. You're more resilient. You handle failure. And I think you'll be happy with the results that you don't want to be attached to, but you'll be happy with what comes in the long run.
What do you think about before you get a good hit or do something good in the field? Like what goes through your mind when you're hitting?
Just feel good and stuff.
Feel good? Yeah, that's a great way to think about it. I like that a lot. There's one thing, we're talking about how we can help young players. I don't know, and this is why I was being selfish and asking Brandon, so I can have more ideas to help with him and his teammates. But one thing we do at home is, what's a curse word that you're not allowed to say in our house?
Can't.
Can't. You're not allowed to say can't at home. And that's the worst word he can say at home. Worse than anything else. And he knows that.
I love
and
that.
we always try to find solutions to stuff, right? If there's an issue, we're trying to find a solution to it. Same thing goes on the field, right?
So
If
good.
you're feeling a certain way, we got to figure out and find a solution how to fix it. And
Yeah.
can't be a word. I just can't do that. No,
Yeah.
What? Excuse me?
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and that's where having a mental tool to change, because a can't is a mental state. I can't do this. It's a negative mental state, right? So can you have a tool to change that? And then I would say a word with 3 letters may be the most important, and probably what we should recommend we say after can't. I can't yet. Yet it's actually been scientifically proven that when we get especially our young kids to say, I can't do this yet, it cultivates a growth mindset. Because the can't is a straight up fixed mindset where, the confidence, the focus, the discipline, whatever attributes I have, the fixed mindset is like, okay, this is just attributes I'm born with. It's set in stone. I can't do anything about it. I'm just stuck. This is just who I am. The growth mindset, or what I like to call a major league mindset, is that's just a starting point. You haven't got that confidence yet. You're not super focused yet. You're not super disciplined yet, right? And then when we do that and we realize we can train our mind just like our body and we can develop our mental skills like our physical skills, we have that growth mindset and everything changes, right? So those words yet, I try to get those across, but the can't cuss word, yeah, it's probably maybe the worst word you could say. I love that, man.
So now you're only allowed to say it if you say yet afterwards, all right?
And real quick, if we have time with this video, is when young players are kind of losing emotional control, the #1 thing to go to for them is their breath. So for players on my team, we have something called a reset routine. Like they're starting to spiral, right? We've all been there. It's going to happen. You strike out, you make an error, you're on the mound, you're not throwing strikes. Umpires are making bad calls. you're starting to spiral. You're getting emotional, frustrated, losing confidence. Can you have a routine to stop the spiral and spiral back up? So we have these stickers right here. I also have some that in the middle, instead of breathe, it says reset. So we put it under their hat, say if they're pitching and there's just, things aren't going good. Defense making errors, all that, anything you can think of. Have them step off the mound, out of the dirt, take their hat off, and they press it like it's a reset button. So while they're pressing it, take a deep breath and also smile. It's been scientifically proven smiling can do a lot for you mentally. So they press it, take that deep breath while smiling, and then they get back on the mound, ready, they're reset, and they're locked in with a green light mentality. So that's a great way for helping young kids in the moment. Have a reset routine. It starts with the breath. So you don't need to have full, like stickers. Start it with their breath and help them become great with their breath. It's the magic pill. It's a magic pill, dude. Like imagine, how about KJ? If I said there's a magic pill that will increase your focus and concentration, decrease stress and anxiety, it will slow the game down, it'll make you more confident, it's free to take, and there's no negative side effects, only positive. Would you take this magic pill? Do you have a guess what that magic pill is? We were just talking about it. It might be in the middle of your sticker. Your breath. A big league breath is your magic pill. The first thing to go when we're getting frustrated or when we're out of our comfort zone and it's a high pressure situation is our breath. We start to breathe shallow or we hold our breath. And when we do that, our heart rate increases, we lose emotional control. If we don't control ourselves, we can't control our performance. So that's where it goes with Major League Identities. Know yourself so that you can control yourself. When you can control yourself, you can control your performance, and then good things happen. So technically it comes back to the breath and that magic pill. And know that, KJ, and any players, parents watching this, slowing the game down, gaining emotional control, getting back to the present moment, and connecting to the best within you is always one breath away. So always remember that.
That's great stuff. And if you don't have the stickers, you can write it inside of your hat or on your glove if you want to write on it. Or you can go to Brandon's website. I'll leave the link down below. Actually, he's got a really cool training coming up. It's an 8-week live training of the Major League mindset. It's April 28th, 2024 if you're watching this now. If you're not, if you're watching this after April 28th, there's going to be more live training. So just click the link down below. You can get signed up. Brandon's been nice enough to give us $250 off when you use the coupon code that you find down in the description. Really great stuff. I know this video was more towards the younger players, but he teaches players of all age, major league, college, high school, and even parents, if you got younger players, can join the live training, learn some stuff, and use it for your young team. So really great stuff. Really great information, and we shot a bunch of videos today. I'll leave links to all of those down below. If you got any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe. You got anything else to say?
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Thank you, Brandon.
Yes, sir. Thanks, brother.